The hero of today's video, international master of sport in freestyle wrestling Aniuar Geduev, is certainly known and respected by many wrestling fans. After all, he is one of the best freestyle wrestlers of the last decade, who has repeatedly won prizes in major international tournaments. In particular, in 2016, in an incredibly tense final Olympic bout, he was only a little short of becoming the Olympic champion. The future champion was born in 1987 in the village of Sigantsu in Kabardino-Balkaria, Russia. From the early years, the boy was interested in sports and was in search of that sport which would come to his heart. So, at the age of 11, Aniuar Geduev started freestyle wrestling. His older brother Lim brought him to his first training session, and his first sparring ended with a broken arm. But the injury did not stop Geduev, and he continued to attend training sessions. Unfortunately, not everything was going well in his youth career. During this period, the athlete was constantly pursued by various injuries, because of which he practically did not take part in competitions. Later on, Aniuar called this stage of his development in wrestling a black streak. But, despite this, the guy was diligent and persistent, and strenuously began to hone his skills and mastery of fighting. Coaches saw Aniuar's persistence and felt his potential, so they gave him a chance to compete as an adult. And they were right. Aniuar Geduev's first achievement in freestyle wrestling was a bronze medal, which he won in 2009 at the Championship of Russia, in a weight category up to 74 kilograms. Another milestone at the beginning of his career was the silver medal he won at the Russian Championship in 2011. March 2013 was marked for Aniuar by getting a gold medal at the European Championship, taking place in Tbilisi. It was at this competition that Geduev was able to demonstrate the highest level of skill. As he said afterwards, he just wanted to show good wrestling. And the following year, Aniuar once again took gold at the European Championships. By that time, Geduev had already become a real celebrity in the sport. But he became even more popular after the European Games in Baku in June 2015. The final bout against the Turk Soner Demirtas for Geduev ended with a confident victory with a resounding score of 10-0. The following year's Russian Championship brought not only gold, but also a ticket to the Olympic Games in Rio. At the Games, Aniuar Geduev made it all the way to the finals. Significant for him was the victory in the quarterfinals over his principal rival, the Olympic champion of London Games, 3 times world champion and one of the most titled American wrestlers in the history, Jordan Burroughs. In the semifinals, Geduev faced Azerbaijan's Jabrail Hasanov. Jabrail Hasanov looked much fresher than Geduev, who had put in a lot of effort to defeat Burroughs. At the beginning of the bout, the Azerbaijani was able to hold holds which gave him 4 points. But this success of the Azerbaijani fighter did not prevent the Russian fighter to reverse the course of the bout and win. But in this fight for a way to the final, Aniuar Geduev received a cut of eyebrow which by the most negative way affected the results of the final fight. In the final, the Russian wrestler was to meet with the Iranian Hassan Yazdani. Unlike Geduev, Yazdani came to the final fresh and full of energy, but that didn't stop Geduev from getting to points right away, locking the Iranian on the mat. Soon Aniuar managed to catch his young opponent again and the score was 4-0. But an injury that Geduev sustained in the semifinals affected the further course of the bout. He got a cut. He bled profusely and he had to put a bandage that completely blocked his left eye and his throat and cut off access to air. But despite these extreme conditions, Geduev won the first period 6-0. However, during the second period, Yazdani began to get even and improved his pace, and by the end of this dramatic bout the score was 6-4. And, in the last minute, Geduev was fixing the heel of the Iranian, not letting him take 2 points. But the referee, 3 seconds before the end of the bout, gave Yazdani 2 points. It was a controversial moment and it all depended on the referee's decision, which unfortunately was not in favor of the Russian. The score was tied at 6-6, and Hassan Yazdani won by the last technical means. There is no doubt that if not for the injury and heavy bleeding, Geduev would have taken the gold. But even his numerous fans and countrymen do not consider Aniuar Geduev a loser. After all, for them he is a real Olympic champion.